Hey friend, and welcome to the Camera Brave Show. My name's Marissa, and I help people fearlessly create content and find their own beautiful voice. In this show, we talk all about strategy, mindset, and confidence, not to mention the power of storytelling through my personal favorite thing, video. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's dive right in. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Camera Brave Show. My name is Marissa, your video marketing coach, teaching you how to feel confident on camera and take stunning videos. Today, I'm going to circle back to a topic that I have not touched on in a while, which is where to be focused when you're taking your videos, specifically the mindset that's going to allow you to create the absolute best content possible and get past some of those barriers that I see keeping so many people stuck with video. If you've been following this page for a length of time, then you may have already heard about me talk about a message mindset. If you're brand new here, then welcome. We're going to dive into exactly what a message mindset is. Even if you've heard me speak on this topic before, then it may be time for a refresher. So that way you are keeping at the forefront what really matters. Your message is something that you can come back to and constantly refine. It's not necessarily something that you set up and then your business is good to go forever. This is something that can constantly be refined, especially towards the beginning stages when you're still trying to flush out exactly what you're offering, who your audience is, and what problems you're able to solve for them. Before we dive on in, I do want to ask you a quick favor. If you would please consider subscribing to the Camera Brave Show. That way you're receiving notifications when new episodes come out every single week. It's one way to show your support for the show, the podcast, myself. If you're enjoying it, subscribing and leaving a review are two major ways to show your support and to help contribute to the growth of the Camera Brave Show. So if you would please consider doing those two things or one of the two, I would very much appreciate you. So in a nutshell, a message mindset is where you dedicate 100% of your mental focus on your message. You are focusing 100% on your message. What is your message? Your message is your content. Every time that you take a video, you're there to talk about something. There's some content that you are delivering to your audience. And when you develop a message mindset, then you focus 100% of your attention onto your content. All good video starts with value. When you focus your attention on providing value inside of every single video that you create, your audience will be able to benefit and grow from your video content. There are so many different factors to consider, so many different things that you could be doing better. What matters is putting value into your content. Keep going back to your content, especially in the beginning. People are so worried about getting it right and getting it perfect, but as long as you speak about things of value to your audience that are all stemming from your purpose and the passion that you have within your business, then your content is going to be good. We just need to focus on getting good enough content out there sometimes. It's so easy to get stuck on the idea that it's got to be perfect. This podcast still isn't perfect in my mind. It's still not 100% the way I want it to be, but I put value into every single episode, and that is what creates good content. It's the value. Are other things important? Yes. Is the lighting important? Of course. Do you want people to be watching and do you want your numbers to go up? Of course, but what you can control and what you should 100% be focused on, especially in the beginning, is putting value into your videos. Having 100% of your focus be dedicated on your message. When you are focused 100% on your message and bringing value into your content, everything else will come in time. Everything else will line up. This is where you start, and this is how you create good content before it's perfect. Because before I ever got the background, the lighting, the angles, everything right, people were still watching my content because I was speaking about body language. Before I even had a ring light, before I had any sort of setup, I was talking about the tips to feeling confident and the little things that you can do to just sit or stand more confidently when you're in front of the camera. 100% of your focus should be on the value. So that is the concept of a message mindset. How do you develop your own message mindset? It's so simple. You think about what value you can bring to your audience, what they need to hear. And this is a great exercise because it continually keeps you in touch with your audience. And then you create a content outline. It's that simple, especially in the beginning. Now, I've had a lot of clients go through my 6-week course, and in week 2, they create the content outline, they're developing their message mindset, and then they're like, okay, I didn't like the outline. That's completely fine. If you decide after you've created content that you don't like the outline and that you don't want to use it, then you are 100% welcome to ditch it. But in the beginning, that is a way that you can flesh out your content, keep yourself organized, and make sure that you're constantly going back to your message and constantly presenting value. And then as you develop that skill of being able to speak, you may need less and less of an outline, and you may not need one at all. Everyone's wired differently. There is nothing wrong with needing an outline. I still use outlines. I have a pad and a piece of paper with what I want to talk about, and I'll continue to jot down notes as the episodes develop because that is my own specific process. So when you're developing your process, start with outlining your content. That way you are always going back to your value. If you're struggling with this concept of what kind of value do I have? When you get really good in your field and when you've been in it for a while, it's easy to not recognize the knowledge that you have because you mistake it as common knowledge. For example, me with framing, lighting, editing, there are so many things that are so secondhand to me. Even the terminology that I'll use, like I'll say things like the lighting's a little hot, meaning, the temperature, it's an industry term. I use a lot of industry terms and jargon and that sort of thing. And when you're so close to something and when you're so completely immersed in your field of what you do, it's easy to think that what you know, everyone knows. Here's an exercise that I was taught. Get out a piece of paper and a pen and write down something that you're assuming your audience already knows. There are things like how to set up your video that are so intuitive to me that I have to remind myself, hey, not everyone knows this. A couple of months ago, I was doing a coaching call inside of my monthly coaching group, and one of the women was needing help with her setup. And I ended up pulling her up on Zoom and seeing what she had to work with. And she was under the misconception that her ring light needed to be very close to her. And she didn't realize that she could put her ring light up on her wall and actually have very beautiful video. She thought that she needed to have her ring light right in front of her. She didn't think about putting her ring light further back and then having some other device to prop up her phone. She was only able to see the ring light how she thought it was supposed to be used. So that is something that I hadn't even realized. And what it led to was me taking a behind the scenes video of my entire studio and my setup. So that way they could see the things that I took for granted thinking they already knew. I thought that people knew it was okay to record up against a wall. But when people see so much content with these beautifully designed rooms and studios and all these content creators that are further along the road, then that mindset became, I have to record in front of a beautiful studio. I can't record in front of a wall. So there were these little misconceptions that I was finding myself having to continually break inside of my coaching clients' minds. So that way I could open them up to using their own space, because I think you can create beautiful video no matter what space you have. And one of the things that I love is helping people take the space that they have and learn to use it best to create stunning video, because you do not need to have the setup that so-and-so has, the studio that so-and-so has. If you have some natural light and a good high quality cell phone, you can get so far nowadays. So when you are outlining the value of what you have to offer, give yourself some credit. Don't listen to that little voice that may be saying, what value do I have? No, there are things that you know that may seem so standard to you, but are completely miles ahead of someone else. Think about the apps that you use on a daily basis that may seem super routine to you. That is some great value content, the apps that you use daily. the processes that you use daily. One thing that I'll show, and I show it over and over and over again because people love to see it, is my equipment. It doesn't matter if it's not the fanciest. It doesn't matter if it's the most refined thing in the world. People want to see what you're using. They want to see what helps you. So don't exclude them from that just because you feel like it's not all perfect. I did that for a very long time. I wouldn't show people my actual setup because I felt like it was messy and it wasn't fancy or good. But in reality, I was depraving my audience from being able to see the tools that I was using to record in a relatively small space with a relatively inexpensive setup. You may have to dig deep, but if you can get yourself to sit down and get out a pen and paper, there is so much value that you have buried inside of you, so much knowledge that your audience needs to hear. You could even get to your Instagram stories and post, what do you guys want to know? What web design techniques would be super helpful for you? Are you wanting to know how I create and design images? Are you wanting to know, my 5 favorite WordPress plugins for this year? What is it that you guys are really wanting to know? So that is how you develop a message mindset. You go to your content, you create content outlines that all are full of value. And then when you go to record your video, you focus 100% of your focus on that content, on that value. You do not worry about who is watching, what the numbers are going to be like. How many times did you say or did you get this perfect? Could you have said that better? No, you are present and you are focusing on your content. And when you are delivering that content, frame it like you are just speaking to one person in your audience. Doing an avatar exercise can be super helpful, where you actually come up with a name and an idea of who your target audience is, and you talk about them like they are one person, they're one avatar. And then you deliver your content like you're speaking to that one person. This is so helpful in the beginning because then it eliminates that idea of what if so-and-so that I went to school with is watching, or what if, so-and-so's mom is watching because I know that they follow this page. It eliminates all of that and allows you to focus on the person that needs you. If you have one client, picture that you're speaking to that one client. If you have one person interested in your services that's hungry to learn more about fitness, about web design, about the wedding services that you offer, then speak to that one person, because that allows you to tailor your message to be the best that it can be. This allows you to do 2 things. It eliminates the overwhelm and the what if so-and-so is watching mindset, and then it allows you to tailor your message just so specifically to that one person. And for you to remember, okay, this isn't just me speaking. Someone needs to hear this. When you can reframe it that way of, okay, there are people who need this information, something happens to your content. It gets elevated to a completely other level when you realize that the content, the value that you've created is needed by someone. There is someone who needs to hear this. There is someone who is learning and absorbing what you're saying. They're taking these coachings and these teachings, they're implementing them, and they're creating amazing things that are affecting their businesses. Take yourself out of the equation. It is not about you when it comes to video. It is about the value that you have and the need and the hunger that your audience has to learn about that subject. This is all a message mindset. You are focused only on your message, only on the value. You are focused on the problem that your audience is having. That one person that you are speaking to, they have a problem. They are in pain. There is something that is not right. For me, it's someone who is really needing to grow their business, but they are terrified to take video. They don't feel like they know what to say. They don't feel like they're equipped, and they are in pain because they've convinced themselves that this isn't something that they could do. And it is my job to show them that it is something that they can do. It is my job to help them get to where they are at now, being stuck and scared and thinking, I really don't know if I could ever do that, to confidently creating video, because I've seen my own audience go on that journey. I've coached people from point A to point B. So now when I coach, I have a passion, because it's not just that I know how to help someone get from A to B. It's that that person has so much potential to create. That person has so much value that they could be sharing. So it's not even about me. Most of the time when I'm coaching, I'm thinking about the process and the transformation that they could undergo and the lives that they could affect just by being able to get up on their camera. I think people get in the mindset of, okay, how are you going to change someone's life by them being able to show up on their Instagram stories? Because showing up on camera is a skill, and there is a way to use it to build your confidence. I am living proof of this. You build your confidence, and it doesn't just deliver on your Instagram stories. It allows you to have the courage to create something that can create money in your business. It allows you to have the courage to venture into things that may terrify you, but you feel this confidence. And yes, it can start with something as small as Instagram stories. I had some notes here of what I wanted to go over, but I think that we ended up in a really great spot here, talking about the value that you can deliver. And if that doesn't seem like it's the right fit, think about the need that your audience has to consume your content, the way that you can change their lives. This is the way that I approach my content. In the beginning, before there were coaching clients, I talked about the value and of body language and of eye contact and things that are still very important. But now I deliver differently because I've seen people change, and I've seen them go from being, oh, I don't know about this, I'm pretty scared to be on camera, to showing up in their stories, to creating reels, and to not even thinking twice about it. I've seen the transformation, and that affects the way that I deliver and the way that I speak about everything, because there's this conviction now, because I've seen it. So even on the days where I don't feel like I have something to say, or I don't feel like I have the energy, or I just don't wanna talk, I don't think about me. I remove myself from the equation. That's something that I've been teaching since day one in a message mindset. So many people get hung up on what they're feeling. And one of my favorite sayings is, your feelings are irrelevant. Ah, doesn't that sound tough? What that means is that you feeling afraid does not change the fact that you have the knowledge that someone else needs. You feeling like you wouldn't be good on camera doesn't change the fact that you have the resources that someone else has been looking for, that you have the meal plan subscription that is going to free up so much time in someone else's life and allow them to be with their family. You feeling these things does not change the fact that your content deserves to be delivered through video. It doesn't change the fact that your audience needs to hear your voice. Not every other coach that you may be looking at in your industry, not every other earring maker or every other so-and-so, but your voice deserves to be heard. You have the power to impact people with your story. And I'm not just talking about if you've done great, amazing things. I'm not just talking about if you've climbed Mount Everest. No matter what stage you're at, your story can inspire. It can encourage. Your voice can change someone's life. Your knowledge can alter the trajectory of someone's future. So that is what I mean by removing yourself from the equation, or more directly put, not listening to those feelings of fear, not letting those feelings of fear stop you. Because yes, your feelings matter. Of course you matter. I'm someone who struggles with anxiety and overwhelm. So I don't love the approach of your feelings don't matter, because it feels harsh, because when I'm feeling overwhelmed and anxious, girl, that matters. So think about it instead of, your feelings don't control you. You have the ability to control those feelings and control the way that you think about video. So when it comes to your video content, what are you focused on? What are you thinking about when you're delivering your content? When I'm speaking to you right now, I'm not thinking about if my hair is frizzy. I'm thinking a little bit about how warm I'm getting just because I'm under these lights and in a sweater. But I am thinking 99.9% on what I have to say to you right now in this moment. So where is your focus when you're taking video? Bless you. That was a sneeze from my co-host, rescue dog, Taco. Where is your focus when you are taking video? When you can focus on your message, meaning your content, your value, not focusing or allowing the way that you feel to prevent you from starting or growing. And you can remove yourself from the equation and develop this message mindset. You will go so far. Let everything else fall into place, but this is where you start. Doesn't matter where you're at. Doesn't matter if you're restarting and you've been doing this for a while, or if you're starting from scratch. This is where you start. Your message mindset, value in your content. Let everything else fall into place. Allow yourself the time to get your lighting right, to nail your background, to get your framing on point, yada, yada, yada. Start here. This is something that I've used to coach people who have been completely terrified and allow them to feel this power and conviction in their messaging and in their story. This is another reason why I have a monthly coaching group and why I've developed a 6-week course, because if it was something everyone could do on their own, then all of us would be creating video content. But there are barriers and blocks that keep us stuck. If you feel like you need more, if you feel like you need more than just this episode, then maybe my membership group would be an amazing fit for you. Maybe my 6-week course would be the transformation that you need. Feel free to send me a message over at Camera Brave. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I'm not as active on my TikTok DMs as I should be, so maybe don't message me there. But if you want to learn more about the ways that I help coach people to fully develop this message mindset and then grow from there, then get on my wait list for my membership group. You can find it at camerabraveclub.com. It's not open right this minute, but if you go and sign up there, I'll send you an email when it's open. Or if you want to learn more about my 6-week course, that is camerabravecademy.com. That launches once a year, and that is part of why the transformations are so powerful, because I walk through the course with you and it has weekly coaching calls. So if either of those resources may be useful to you, please go get on the wait list. If you're feeling beyond overwhelmed by this topic, then it's a good indicator that coaching may be the way to help you get on camera, to help you be able to take video without even thinking twice about it. If you feel completely stuck, overwhelmed, terrified, anxious, if those are some of the words that you use to describe your feelings about video, then it is absolutely something that I can help you with. This is a topic that I could talk all day about, friends. I love talking about a message mindset. This is a topic that I came up with myself, a term that I've coined, a message mindset, and it's something that I'm very passionate about and that I continue to practice every single time that I create my own content. This is how I built my own confidence. This is how I built my own business. And this is one pillar of the Camera Brave show, and how I can come up and talk to you guys every single week. Thank you so much for listening into today's episode. As always, you can find me over at Camera Brave on Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, friends, and I'll see you next time on the Camera Brave Show.